Okay, continue. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravahani Pachaline Nivasisha Shunyavadi Pashtatara Sadanine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Okay, 1 second. This microphone wasn't plugged in. Okay, it's plugged in now. All right, let's bring up the book. Here it is. Books, Brhad Bhagavatamrta. Share. So last week we did our last reading, not last week. Last week we did up to text 122, and the Sakiras is being glorified now. There's verses Sanat Goswami is quoting extensively from the Srimad Bhagavatam, of course, and specifically there's this well-known verse here, which finishes Sakam Brijuho Kritapannibanja. So Sukadev Goswami is almost beside himself in trying to estimate the great fortune of these souls who are engaged in loving pastimes with Krishna. Now, Sukadev Goswami is himself very exalted, as we know, but in his recitation of Bhagavatam and his glorifying the presence of Raj, he's beside himself. So he says here, Sakam Brijuhu Krita Punya Punja. What did they do to get this position of being able to personally play with Krishna? Yeah. Personally enjoy loving pastimes with Krishna as a cowherd boy. So Sukadeva Goswami, so Sanat Goswami quotes this in glorification of a Sakiras, and we'll pick it up here. 120. Yeah, there's comparison given to yogis. Now, what do they compare to these great devotees? These yogis have done austerities for thousands of years. Yeah. They don't compare to the great fortune of the residents of Raj. Yeah. Okay, so we're picking up 123. And Mavula Vangalataka, you'd like to read this one?
Yeah, I will.
Translation if you want, and a commentary.
Yeah. Sometimes Lord Krishna grew tired from fighting and lay down at the base of a tree, resting upon a bed made of soft twigs and buds, and using the lap of a cowherd friend as his pillow. Commentary. Text 123 to 125 are from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:15, 16 to 18. Here Sukadeva Goswami describes some of the services the cowherd boys did for Krishna while he rested in the forest. These pastimes were a part of Krishna's Poganda Leela of tending his cows in Sri Vrindavan forest. Krishna would enjoy lying down to rest at various times when fatigued after wrestling with his friends, for instance, and in various places such as the cool, breezy shore of the Yamuna. To rest comfortably, he would choose the base of a kadamba, tamal, or other tree with ample shade. Anticipating Krishna's daily pastimes, the goddess Vrinda would have beds of leaves, flowers, and young soft twigs waiting at the bases of those trees, or sometimes Krishna's Gopa friends would arrange this bedding when they arrived. Even though Krishna lay down on only one bed at a time, Sri Sukadev refers to the beds in the plural, either because many devotees were involved in making them, or simply out of great respect for the paraphernalia of Krishna's pastimes, or else because the cowherd boys would compete to make several different beds, and Krishna would expand his universal form to please all the boys by simultaneously lying down on each bed, unseen by the makers of the others. Krishna would accept as his pillow the lap of his most intimate friend, Srimati Radharani's brother, Sridham.
Yeah. There's a nice BBT picture of this. I'm sure you can picture it. Where Krishna,
Yeah,
I think he's lying on the lap of Balaram. He's lying with his head on Balaram's lap, and the cowherd boys are around him. Yep. So very sweet pastimes, and Krishna's manifesting himself. Mentions here, sorry, scrolling back and forward. Hope it's not making you dizzy. But he would expand his universal form. So it's not the same universal form as we see in Bhagavad Gita. This is his sweet form as Krishna. I mentioned, interesting, Sanatana Goswami mentions he would expand his universal form to please all the boys.
the same way he expands in the rasa dance, do you think?
Yeah, same way, yeah. There's a name for that, a name for the specific Sanatana Goswami again. He speaks about this in Lord Chaitanya speaks to Sanatana Goswami about this in the Chaitanya Bhagavatamrta, the different expansions of Krishna. So there's some expansions, I forget the name, Tat Ekam Rupa, or something like that, where Krishna's expansions are exactly the same form. Yeah. They're exactly the same. Like when Krishna expanded himself in Dwarka, in the different palaces of the queens. So it seems, and here the same. Um, so that although Sanat Goswami's mentioned it may be one or it may be many, because there's many devotees, thousands. That's what's very intriguing about Goloka Vrindavan as well, that the atmosphere is very pastoral. Just like in a city, there's thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of people. So in Goloka Vrindavan, there's hundreds and hundreds of thousands and millions and thousands of devotees. But that's going to kind of not go down too well with the pastoral setting of a Raj. So by the inconceivable potency of Krishna's internal energy, although there may be thousands and thousands of cowherd boys, the, it is as if there's just one particular group of friends. How that works is beyond anyone, definitely beyond me. This is Krishna's internal potency. So the setting remains pastoral and remains intimate. Because how could Krishna enjoy lunch with 10,000 people? With like 50,000 cowherd boys, which he does, but by the internal energy, the cowherd boys are not aware of this. The same with the rasa dance as well, isn't it? Millions and millions and millions of gopis. But if they was all aware there was millions of gopis, it wouldn't be such an intimate setting. So this is the Adaya Shakti, which is the accommodating potency of the Lord. Yeah, the Adaya Shakti, where just like a lotus, a lotus, like if you picture a little insect, a tiny microbe on the lotus, yeah, when the lotus is closed, then the microbe or the little germ, whatever it is, he has access to the different leaves of the lotus. But when the lotus opens up, then he doesn't have the same access. So by those inconceivable potency, sometimes the lotus of Raj, the internal potency, closes the to make the journey from one part of Raj to another very quick, and then sometimes it opens. Yeah, Achincha. Yeah. All right, so he's laying on. So this time the lap. He's laying on the pillow. On the pillow, he's pillowed the lap of his most intimate friend, Srimati Radharani's brother, Sridham. And no doubt there's devotee. Others are fanning him, probably massaging his feet, etc. Yeah, it's Sakiras. Okay. Uh, Will you have Mother Chandravali? You like to read this one? Just like, sorry, keep me to keep me interrupting. It seems like there's only 4 of us here today, but actually there might be 10,000. Krishna's inconceivable potency. Go on, sorry, keep interrupting. We can't hear you, Mother. You're muted. You have to press the button. That's it. Go ahead.
Okay, some of the coward boys, who were all great souls, free of all sins, would then massage his lotus feet, and others would expertly fan him. Commentary. When Krishna's coward friends, who loved him so much, saw that he was fatigued, many of them responded immediately, doing whatever they could to relieve his discomfort. In this flurry of activities, the boys were overcome by ever increasing affection for him. Many boys would massage his legs, either one boy at a time, in turn, or else all the boys massaging various places at once. It may also be that, to please his beloved friend, who all wanted to serve him in this way, the Supreme Lord manifested his all pervasive form, without leaving aside his form as the son of Sri Nanda, and allowed a huge crowd of coward boys to massage his feet simultaneously, each unseen by others. Thus, Krishna displays his supreme powers even in his childhood pastimes, as expressed in the later verse of the Bhagavatam 10, 15, 19, by the words Isha Chetishta, exhibiting feats only God can perform. With this in mind, instead of taking the word Mahatmana in this verse to refer to Krishna's friends, we can take it as referring to Krishna, the Supreme Soul. In this pastime, Krishna demonstrates the greatness of the Supreme Being even more convincingly than in God's typical activities like creation. In these childhood pastimes, Krishna shows his power to enchant the entire world with his sweetness. Sukadeva Goswami speaks of Krishna's friend as Hatta Pamana, persons who have had their sins destroyed. For ordinary pious persons, whatever contradicts the principles of religion is sin. But for devotees of the Supreme Lord, sin is anything that obstructs pure devotional service, and that is the sense that applies here. The coward boys of Raj have not the slightest inclination to do anything that does not please God. Krishna himself is also called Hatha Papmana, in the sense that he destroys the sins of all the world by displaying his glories for everyone to hear and chant.
Okay, thank you. So, yes, so now they're also, so Krishna's sleeping on the lap of Sridham, and the others are fanning him and giving him massage. So as Sanat Goswami mentions it towards the end of this commentary, he's highlighting that this actual internal energy and what we're seeing and the wonder of the pastimes of Krishna in Vraj and the sweetness of Krishna and the sweetness of the pastimes. This is far beyond the potency that's invested in creation, etc. Yeah, the potency that the Lord invests in the Lord Brahma to create. And then there's the potency invests to give Lord Brahma the ingredients of creation. That's just that's all in relationship to the material energy. But here, what we're hearing about, and hopefully by hearing we are seeing, that's the idea. We hear and we see. This is the pinnacle of Krishna's Shaktis, but being manifest in his extraordinary sweet pastimes. Yeah. So although it's a pastoral setting, It's kind of very pastoral, and there's so much mystic going on. There's so many mystical things happening to facilitate Krishna's pleasure, and therefore the pleasure of the devotees in serving Krishna. As we can read in the Krishna book, that, for instance, when Brahma Vimohan Leela, that wonderful pastime where Krishna manifests as all the cows, and all the cowherd boys, they're all with their distinct, specific personality traits, but they are all Krishna. Yeah. So we are only we only move in the material energy, and it's pretty basic. It's pretty basic, this material energy. It's pretty two-dimensional. Yeah? But the spiritual energy is multi-dimensional. So it's multiple wonderful, it's multiple unlimited, amazing pastimes. Yeah. Anyway, any other comments or reflections on this? Um, yeah, let's have a look at this. I couldn't quite understand this. You see that I'm just highlighting it here. Krishna, Sukadeva Goswami speaks of his friends as, so Krishna's friend, Hatta Papmanaha, persons who've had their sins destroyed. Okay, that's quite straightforward. For ordinary persons, whatever contradicts the principles of religion is sin. Yep, that's mentioned in the sixth canto in the conversation between the Vishnu Dutas and the Yama Dutas. But for devotees of the Supreme Lord, okay, sin is anything that obstructs pure devotional service. Okay, so that's sinful. Okay, so anything that dilutes our devotion, our specific pure devotion. Here, Sanat Goswami is mentioning actually for a devotee that is sinful. Okay, they're following Dharma, right? They're following Dharma. Okay, they're following the principles of Dharma, regulative principles. But if they dilute, or if one's pure devotion becomes diluted, say with desire for adoration, fame, name, profit, etc., then that's a sin. Okay, that's a sin for devotee. Because they're not actually stepping over Dharma, but you get the idea here? What
Yeah,
Sukha,
because you're getting reactions for any action that is not Krishna conscious. You know?
That's not pure. Yeah. So sin is anything that obstructs pure devotional service. Yeah. So that is the sense that applies here.
Yeah.
The cowherd boys of Raj have not the slightest inclination to do anything that does not please Krishna. That's quite a statement, isn't it? Not the
Yeah.
slightest. Yeah.
Prabhu, would you say Arjuna was performing pure devotional service then, when Krishna instructed him to fight?
Yeah, he was, but in the beginning he was acting sinfully by him, wanting to
Yeah. So that piousness was considered sinful by Krishna. Well, he was saying, I don't want to fight, kill anyone because women will be polluted and there'll be no happiness.
yeah, and you have Maharaj Yudhisthira as well, who was hesitant to lie, even though Krishna told him to. I think Sanat Goswami is kind of playing around here with rasa. He's playing it.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, because the gopis, they steal Krishna's flute, so that's stealing. But and they steal each other's lunch boxes, so that's also stealing. So, but it's not a sin because it's for Krishna's pleasure.
Because it's all for Krishna's pleasure. Yeah. So Sanat Goswami is really highlighting the wonder of pure devotion. Yeah. So you could,
sense gratification for his senses. You know, if I do to my uncle, my grandfather, like that. So he was attached to the sense.
Thinking of his own happiness, how can we, okay, we're going to win the battle. Okay, if we win the battle, how can I sit in the big spanking marble palace, which I know which had been won by bloodshed, and I won't be able to sit and enjoy the palace? because I'd be feeling guilty for having slain my family. So then I won't be happy.
That's mode of goodness, right? Or yeah, goodness. So not on the transcendental platform.
Yeah, I guess, but again, it was all arranged by Krishna, wasn't it?
Oh
Arjuna's
yeah, actions
the
are.
bewilderment was arranged by Krishna.
Mm.
But yeah, so I think, yeah, to answer Mother Labangalatiki, yes, from this perspective, from what we're hearing Sanatana Goswami explain, yes, Arjuna was acting not according to the principles of pure devotion, which means Anyabhalasada Samyam, you execute what Krishna says, even if materially it seems to be sinful, and you don't hesitate to actually do it. Of course, that makes materialistic persons scratch their head. They have no idea. You know. Yeah, but this sentence here as well, they're not the slightest inclination to do anything that does not please Krishna. That's something to meditate upon.
Just to get to that platform. Don't know that sort of thing.
Yeah. Now it's not, yeah, that platform, that will be a natural state of being when one is an advanced devotee. That will be their natural state.
Mm.
Just that, it's not as if they have to do it as a sadhana. I have to do everything for Krishna, nothing for me, nothing, no, 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 no. They just spontaneously do everything for Krishna because they're so in love with him.
Mm.
It's not as if they have to, make an effort. Oh, I can't eat that pizza because I can't do this. It's not directly for Krishna's pleasure. No, they're just, how can we really understand it? We can understand it actually by hearing about these pastimes in Braj. If we want to understand what is pure devotion, just have to read 10th canto. We want to see what it looks like, isn't it? We want to understand okay, we will read about pure devotion, but how does it manifest? What does it look like? Then you're going to read about Prabhupada, you can read about acharyas, then you're going to read about the residents of Vrindavan. Oh, that's what it looks like. This is what it means to be pure. Yeah, you can see it very graphically as a beautiful picture is being put together by Sukadev Goswami. What is actually pure devotion? And it's here. They have do anything to please Krishna. Yeah, so himself he's called Hattapapmana in the sense that he destroys the sins of all the world by displaying his glories for everyone to hear and chant. Yes. Hare Krishna. Right, let's read text 125. We have a couple more devotees have joined us. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Apologies, we missed the last two readings, the last two Wednesdays. Good. Happy to be back into the Bhagavatamrta. Anyone out there like to read 125? Yeah. Okay, let me jump in. I like reading as well. Yeah. My my dear king, other boys would sing songs appropriate to the occasion that would enchant Krishna, and the hearts of the boys would melt out of love for him. Yes. Spontaneously make up songs as they're playing with Krishna, obviously in glorification of Krishna, probably he's killing different demons, etc. Some of Krishna's friends sang songs with sweet, gentle melodies. Wow, just right for his nap time. Oh, that's nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Krishna's laying down and they're singing, a really sweet melody so Krishna can perhaps doze off. This encouraged him to fall asleep quickly. Krishna is the most exalted of persons, graver than the combined depth of millions of oceans. Wow, that's amazing, isn't it? Graver than the combined depth of millions of oceans. But these songs fascinated him because they described his loving dealings with the gopis. All right, so that's what the songs are about. Krishna's glancing at the gopis, and his mind was strongly attracted even to the parts of those songs that merely glorified his devotional service in general ways. It may be here, yeah, that's what Goloka Prema Dana Harinam Sankirtan. That's what comes down from there in the form of the Maha Mantra. That's the glorification of Krishna. It may be that here Sukadeva Goswami uses the word Mahatmanaha, ironically. Unable to understand his ecstasy, Sukadev calls Krishna a great soul. Excuse me, unable to control his ecstasy, Sukadev calls Krishna a great soul. Yes, sorry, I'm just remembering now. There's a part where Guru Maharaj speaks about in one of the Krishna in Vrindavan series. I think it might be Venu Gita, where Sukadev Goswami, when he's speaking Krishna Katha about Krishna's pastimes, he becomes so overwhelmed with ecstasy, and so does Maharaj Parikshit, that he stands up and Maharaj Parikshit stands up and they embrace each other in great devotional ecstasy. Yeah, so unable to control his ecstasy, Sukadev calls Krishna a great soul, with the understanding that Krishna is actually the prince of womanizers. Okay. He's the prince of womanizers who shamelessly indulges his lusty propensities by stealing the clothes of the cowherd's daughters, making them appear naked before him. Okay. That is very much bewilders the materialists. They think Krishna is an ordinary lusty person, but as we know, he's not, you know. He's in,
Just a quick question
yeah,
there. Like the Gopas are singing all these songs, right?
yeah,
But they not all. They are different teams or whatever you call it.
different groups. Yeah.
Groups, right? So how would they sing songs about gopis and Krishna's like here stealing clothes and all that? Because they are in different groups, and I'm just trying to think.
Well, again, there's different groups of gopas.
Yeah,
We can only conclude, but and they're
unless
different. Now, I tend to think these group of gopas that we're hearing about are
with
specifically those who are in the close circle,
yeah, prana
who are directly
right?
engaged in pastimes with Krishna. Because there's like within Raj, there's those who may not engage in direct lila with Krishna, but they're kind of on the periphery.
Mm,
But the experience is if they are directly with Krishna by hearing and seeing his lila.
mm,
So yeah, they all, the cowherd boys, especially those who are the same age as him,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know, they're all aware because when Krishna leaves in the morning and they see him glancing at the gopis and the gopis glancing at him. And some of us, there's this particular gopas where they share, or they're not the share, but they facilitate Krishna's pastimes with the gopis.
yeah.
Yeah. Don't know if that answered the question.
Yeah, we was reading more. I was thinking, they have. Is that the ones? Those are prana saka, like
That's the
really
word I was looking for. Prana shakas.
gopas.
Prana
I,
shakas,
yeah,
yeah.
because then I figured out that because Radharani's brother is there, and so there must be those few.
Prana suckers. There's not all the cowherd boys are fully aware of his
Mm,
intimate, loving exchange with the gopis, but some are. So that creates quite a bit of rasa, you know?
yeah,
I don't know your experience. It's a bit mundane when you're in a group of friends and one of your friends got attracted to one girl or something, or vice versa. You're in a group of girlfriends with each other as ladies, and one of your friends is attracted to some boy, and then the two groups meet, and so that's all material because it's not in relationship to Krishna, but it's going on in its pure form
this
in
is
the
pure
spiritual world.
compassion.
It's going
Yeah,
on its pure original form. Yeah. So anyway, let's read on. The song sung by Krishna's friends for his pleasure inspired intensified prema, which melted the boys' hearts. I mean, their hearts already melted. Now it's melting even more. They sang softly, their voices choked with tears of ecstasy. From this, we can know that even though pure love for Krishna arises in the course of all kinds of devotional service, it appears most quickly and fully when one performs a Sankirtan by singing songs dear to Krishna and otherwise glorifying his name and fame. Okay? Hopefully, that's our experience. We can engage in different devotional activities, but when we gather together with Vaishnavas and we chant the holy name and we're glorifying Krishna, then we can have access to a great ecstasy. Of course, it depends on the quality of that kirtan as well. Quality of that sankirtan, you know. Sometimes sankirtan is done in different moods for different purposes. But at least if it's done by devotees who are pure, not completely pure, but a pure in intention, then it can, when a pure-hearted devotee sings the holy name, then Krishna's manifest there. And it's ecstasy. Yeah, that's Sanat Goswami. So it appears more quickly and fully when one performs a Sankirtan by singing songs dear to Krishna, and otherwise glorifying his name and fame. Right? Any comments or questions there? That's what Kirtan's for. It's for remembering Krishna. It's not meant just for making. I know we're going to it. It's meant for remembering Krishna. We're supposed to feel separation from Krishna, and then finally we gather with devotees, and because we're all feeling separate, this is the ideal. Because we're all feeling separation from Krishna, we call out Krishna's name, just like the gopis did when Krishna went from the rasa. There was nothing there. Their hearts was the only thing they could do was to chant his glories. So if we're in that same mood, okay, we're with the Vaishnavas. Let's chant loudly. Let's sing loudly, and that should lead to remembrance of Krishna's name, form, and personality, etc. That's real prema kirtan. So, as stated in the previous verse, the boys who served Krishna while he rested were Hatha Patmanaha, free from all sin. They were great souls, extremely advanced in devotional service, each capable of purifying the entire universe. Yes, so Judam can purify the entire universe. Just one little cowherd boy, or one little gopi or manjari, they can purify an entire universe. Thus, as they performed their individual services for Krishna, they felt more and more love for him, and their hearts melted in ecstasy. And again, the word Mahatmanaha applies equally well to both Krishna and his friends. So, this kirtan, they're singing, Krishna's laying down, his head on the lap of Sridham. They're singing very sweet songs in a sweet melody. And those songs are all about Krishna and his pastimes, interjected with pastimes of the gopis. So they're feeling great ecstasy, tears are coming from their eyes. And, in this verse, Srila Sukadeva addresses King Parikshit as Maharaja. This may mean that the pastime of Krishna being served in royal style is fit to be heard by a king. Or it may imply that kings like Parikshit Maharaj can hardly expect such luxurious comforts. Sanat Goswami is giving various meanings here. You can choose which one to go with. Okay. Or describing to Parikshit the supreme fortune of the cowherd boys creates an upsurge of loving feelings in Sukadev's heart that makes him address Parikshit as Maharaja to attract the attention of the king, who is also overwhelmed by the bewilderment of pure prema. Okay. Or Sukadev calls Parikshit Maharaja the best of the royal class, because only King Parikshit is competent to understand the sublime good fortune of these cowherd boys. Right? So there's a big gathering of sages there, but Maharaj Parikshit, he's the Maharaja. he's the one who can really appreciate what Sukadev Goswami is speaking about. So Maharaja, yeah. So it's called him Parikshit, Maharaja. He is competent to understand. Yeah. Or else the term may indicate that the fondness cherished by the cowherd boys for Krishna is supremely splendid. It is the Maharaja of loving sentiments. Although the Sneha, yeah, this Sneha is a specific aspect of prema that melts the heart, called Sneha. Although this Sneha or love is always present within the boys, in this setting of intimate service, it now rises to the peak of its potency. It radiates with infinite brilliance, leaving all contamination far behind. Right, so this is quite an intimate setting. Krishna's not killing demons, they're not chasing cows, they're not stealing each other's lunch, they're not being, playing. They're actually in a very intimate setting. Krishna's sleeping and they're singing sweet songs. And it's all very crazy, very, very, very sweet. They're singing songs about Krishna's pastime with the gopis. And you can just imagine Krishna just closing his eyes and drifting off to, could we say, sleep? So here, this is, yeah. So here, this particular pastime here, it radiates with infinite brilliance. So there's no trace of any, it leaves all contamination far behind. Nice lunch, isn't it? Nice time. Not nice lunch, sorry, nice. Good place to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somehow or another, we think that there's more attractive things in this material world than the mad conditioned souls. We're more attracted to the goings on in the material world than the spiritual world. This is our disease.
I was thinking the other day, we got envious. We made a slight mistake, right? So then we came here. And then being around for so long and layers of karma piling up and, going down, it's so hard to scrape everything off to try and get to that state to go back home,
Yeah, in one sense it's hard, but in another sense it's easy. I mean, Krishna knows our plight. Krishna, we are part and parcel of Krishna, so Krishna feels for our plight. Therefore, he comes and he performs pastimes. And by hearing about these pastimes, then all the muck, anato pashamam shakshat, bhakti yoga madokshate. Yeah, all the anatas, just by hearing these pastimes, become cleansed. Yeah, just as when the sun rises, then it dissipates the darkness of night or the fog in the morning. So yeah, it's true, but in one sense it's very easy. We just have to hear Krishna's pastimes.
Yeah.
The process is easy.
Yeah, but when you read books and that, like here as well, so nicely explained, so nice poetic words.
Yeah, yes.
And like people like me are just like straightforward, no understanding about nice, beautiful, poetic words to explain to Krishna or speak to Krishna, pray to Krishna, I'm just like, it's just so hard to be so.
But therefore, that's why it's good to do, that's why this reading, we're not reading on our own, we're doing Sankirtan at the moment. We're gathered with other devotees and we're glorifying. So we're together as Vaishnavas or aspiring Vaishnavas, myself, and we're glorifying. So there's a lot more sweetness can be had, isn't it?
Yeah.
A lot more sweetness can be had if you're engaged in Sankirtan. Also, at the same time, if we're in the right mood, because remember the books that we have, they're not books, they're actual Krishna. They're actually Krishna. So if we're in the right mood, then we can read, and that just that reading we can penetrate, or just the reading of Krishna's pastimes, we can feel some type of transcendence. We can feel some type of shelter just by hearing, especially if we approach it in a prayerful mood. If we, if we open up Srimad Bhagavatam, or we open up a book and we're opening it up for shelter, we're opening up the book for shelter. We want to take shelter of Krishna. There is Tvam Kinchana Gochara. When we realize there's nothing for us in this material world other than Srimad Bhagavatam. There is nothing that can give us satisfaction. And if we read in that spirit, then Krishna is going to manifest. What we read will touch the heart, and ultimately, perhaps not in the same here, but Sneha ultimately melt our heart. So that's the idea. If we don't just read because we have to read, because we've been told to read Prabhupada's books. So I guess I got to read Prabhupada's books. Everyone's on about you have to read Prabhupada. Okay, I'll do my reading. We're doing it out of. Sorry, I'm going on a bit here. I was thinking about this just today, that sometimes we criticize Hindus for being attached to religious rituals. They come in, they do rituals. So sometimes even in Krishna consciousness, we may approach reading as a ritual, type of a ritual that we have to do, because, we have to read Prabhupada's books, and then it's, okay, I'm going to read Prabhupada. Why are you reading Prabhupada's books? Well, I have to read Prabhupada's books. And yeah.
No, you want to read it because you're associating with Prabhupada, and
Yeah,
here,
that's the idea.
Swami.
Yeah, we should want to read because we want to be with Prabhupada, we want to associate with Krishna. And then when we read, even if it's on our own, we can experience sublime consciousness. But sometimes it may not be like that. Often it may not be. But still, we take a humble position and we, read. All right, so I'm going on a bit. Hare Krishna. Did I finish reading that verse? 126. What's the time? 6:47. Right. Someone else like to read 126? Now it's going on. Looks like to Vatsalya.
I can read another one.
Go ahead.
Yeah. 126. O learned Brahmana, Mother Yashoda's breast milk was sucked by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What past auspicious activities did she and Nanda Maharaj perform to thus achieve such perfection in ecstatic love? Commentary. Texts 126 through 130 are dedicated to the supreme glories of Goparaj Nanda and his wife Shri Yashoda. After Sukadeva explains to Pariksit Maharaj the special way Krishna favored Mother Yashoda, Pariksit speaks the current verse, Bhagavatam 10.8.46. By showing the universal form and by displaying other exceptional pastimes, Krishna made himself known to all the Brajvasis as the Supreme Lord. But then, to show his most extreme mercy, especially to his mother, he again covered her consciousness with his unique potency so that she could think of him only as her son. Thus, Krishna made the highest degree of pure affection pervade his mother's mind and all her senses. Pariksit addresses the son of Badarayana Vyas with the word Brahman, O direct embodiment of the supreme absolute truth, because Pariksit is asking a question that only the Lord himself can answer. What special pious acts could Nanda and Yashoda have done to achieve such a blessed state, unattainable in this material world? The devotional success of Nanda and Yashoda is Mahodayam, the greatest perfection, unequaled by other devotees, including Vasudeva and Devaki. In the next Bhagavatam verse, 10.8.47, Sri Pariksit states, although Krishna was so pleased with Vasudeva and Devaki that he descended as their son, they could not enjoy Krishna's magnanimous childhood pastimes, which were so great that simply chanting about them vanquishes the contamination of the material world. Vasudeva and Devaki were Krishna's true parents, But they were less fortunate than Nanda and Yashoda, who witnessed Krishna's childhood pastimes, in which he generously bestowed upon the world sense enjoyment, liberation, devotional service, and ecstatic love. Gyanti Adyapi Kavaya. Even today in the Kali Yuga, great poets like Brahma and Vyasadeva sing about these pastimes because this is the means for operating all the evils of the modern age. Without glorifying Krishna's pastimes, no one can eradicate the faults of Kali Yuga. Pure devotees have always chanted these glories of Krishna and continue to do so up to the present day. The phrase Loka Samalapaham can be explained in several ways. One is that this glorification or sankirtan removes apaha, the misery, samala, of all living beings. Or taking sama to mean peace of mind, lapa to mean speech, and ha to mean killing. Another explanation is that by engaging in this hearing and chanting, one develops the highest quality of prema, which in turn disturbs the equilibrium of the mind and brings the faculty of speech to a complete halt. Or reading Sama as well-being and Lapa as discussion, another idea is that engaging in Sankirtan transforms the attitude of all who take part, leaving no scope for further discussion of impersonal self-contentment. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:8:21-45 describes some of the wonderful pranks of the infant Krishna shared with Nanda and Yashoda by his special mercy. Were it not for this unprecedented mercy, Mother Yashoda would be on the same level as Devaki, who also fed Krishna with her breast milk. Later in the 10th canto, while narrating how Krishna recovered his dead older brothers, Sukadeva said, by drinking Devaki's nectarian milk, the remnants of what Krishna himself had drunk, the 6 sons touched the transcendental body of the Lord, Narayana, and this contact awakened them to their original identities. This verse confirms that Krishna once drank from Devaki's breast, right after Krishna's birth in Kamsa's prison. Devaki begged 4-armed Krishna to become an ordinary baby, and at that time he must have sat on her lap for a few minutes and drunk from her breast. Later, too, when Brahma stole Krishna's calves and friends, Krishna took on their forms and drank the milk of all their mothers. Therefore, in the verse quoted at the present text of Sri Brhad Bhagavatamrta, Pariksit takes care to distinguish Yashoda's special good fortune from that of Krishna's other mothers. It is for this reason that he uses the words evam, thus. Pariksit here calls Krishna by the name Hari, indicating that by motherly love Krishna kindled in Yashoda through his childhood leelas, he constantly stole her mind. And by speaking of her as Mahabhaga, Pariksit implies that she is even more fortunate than Nanda Maharaj. It is common knowledge that children are more strongly bound by affection to their mothers than to their fathers. This general rule applies to Krishna also, as shown in the 10th canto by the descriptions of Krishna's infant behavior, especially the pastime of his being tied up with rope. We will hear some of these descriptions in the verses recited next by King Pariksit. Although Vasudeva and Devaki worshipped Krishna with devotion for the duration of 4 yugas and underwent severe austerities to gain him as their son, they could not achieve a trace of the blessings Krishna showered upon Nanda and Yashoda. Vasudeva and Devaki could not directly enjoy Krishna's pastimes of crawling about and otherwise acting as an infant, pastimes great poets headed by Sri Brahma praise in song.
Okay, thank you, Hare Krishna. So, any reflections on this? Going into even more intimate. We just heard about the really beautifully intimate pastimes of Krishna with his cowherd boyfriends, and now the really intimate, wonderful exchange between Mother Yasoda and Krishna. Even more, you can say, even more intimate, as we know. Yes, quite a long commentary, quite a few things here, but let's see. Sometimes it's good to just stop and look at what we read, isn't it? And try to appreciate it more, try and churn it a bit. Yeah. Learn that Mother Yasoda's breast milk was sucked by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So what past activities did she do? Let alone the cowherd boys. performs such perfection in ecstatic love. Yes. Yeah. Well, perhaps it's beyond us. We just have to read and hear it. Again, he brings up about Sankirtan here. Lokasamapaham. Yeah, that glorification or Sankirtan removes apaha, the misery, shamala of all living beings. Yeah. So that's in one sense, it's because Krishna came and Krishna left. But Krishna didn't leave because he left the Srimad Bhagavatam. So in the same way as when Krishna was present, those who took shelter of him, in the same way we can take shelter of Krishna's pastimes by hearing about them. Yeah. Sankirtan, especially glorifying his pastimes. You know, so much that Sanat Goswami gives here. Anyone want to bring out something specific? So, yeah, Devaki, she gave her breast milk to Krishna. I didn't know that. I guess it's obvious she might have done it, might have did do. But then she couldn't enjoy the sweet childhood pastimes of Krishna. All right, let's perhaps just read and read and read on. What's the time? 57. We've got 3 minutes. Perhaps let's just pause here, yeah? Just pause here on the trying to appreciate Madhya Soda. Can anyone perhaps relay some specific pastimes from in relation to Krishna and Madhya Soda?
When he ate the dirt and seeing the universe's form, you know.
Yeah, he ate dirt, and yes, that's a beautiful pastime. We have a picture of that in our temple room. I'm sure we've noticed that. It's been there many years. And our stained glass window temple room.
Yeah.
There's a picture of
I like the one where the other gopis complain about Krishna and just say he's stealing their butter. And then Madhu Yashoda says, oh, she'll take away his jewelry then, because that's how he's seeing in the dark places. And they were like upset. They said, no, we don't want jewelry to be taken away.
Yeah, and some that they have great affection for Krishna, because Krishna's childish activities, stealing, etc. As they would complain to Mother Yasoda, then when Mother Yasoda's Mother Lavangilatiko brings out, when Mother Yasoda would then make steps to chastise Krishna, they no, no, don't do that. So for Krishna, yeah, Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Gopijana Varaba, Giri Bharadari, Yasoda Nandana, Varijana Ranjana. So Krishna's enchanting all the residents of Raj. Yeah.
The one I really like is, when Krishna is stealing butter, and then the gopis say, all right, I caught you, I'm going to take you to your mom, to Yashoda. And then Yashoda is smiling because she's got her own son there. Krishna changed into her own son.
Yeah, that's the whole wonderful pastime.
Next time you do that to me, it'd be your husband.
Yeah. That's not in Krishna book. That's told by, I think,
Little Krishna.
Little Krishna.
Yeah, Little Krishna. I watch it with little kids.
Yeah.
Really,
So this is Krishna's pastime. Is that they enchant and they attract. They attract one and they enchant one.
Actually, were you there for your Guru Maharaj's class when you gave the evening class in Soho?
Recently?
Yeah. He gave it's questions and answers class.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, and that lady from Croydon, I forget her name, she asked the question about someone said this pastime about you know, where they got the rope from in Damodar Leela.
Oh, yeah.
And then somebody else said, and I loved your Guru Maharaj's answer for that question was so good. I was like, you know, people say different things, but it was more, I mean, explained it in a very, very nice way, but basically like
Well,
stick with Krishna book or something like that.
yeah. Okay, thanks for reminding us about that. Yeah, it's quite an involved question.
Yes. And he gave a very thorough answer. I'm not giving it justice by just saying that, but
Yeah.
I can't remember the details, but he gave the conclusion like so nicely. I was like, wow, that's just amazing.
Yeah, so sometimes we have, not just in regards to other pastimes, the Ram Leela and other, by the time it gets filtered down the ages through different things get added or things, you know,
Yeah.
it changes its form sometimes and so that's why, yeah, I think my Guru Maharaj has mentioned that we accept what Sukadev Goswami says through the Srimad Bhagavatam and the other, you know, our other granthas, other scriptures as well.
Yeah.
What's it about the rope? What she said, that's it. She said the rope comes from, yeah, that was it. The rope that actually
Radharani.
All the
came from
Gopi.
Radharani's hair or something.
Yes.
I mean, it sounds plausible. It sounds quite rasic, but it's not there in Bhagavatam.
No.
Yeah, that's what he said. And many people say that. And he said, like, why would Radharani be there with her hairband?
Yeah, Radharani is not part of that Leela. And plus,
Yeah.
he's very young at that age, isn't he? He's very young, no?
That's what he said, yeah, she's very young.
They're very young, so they're before the girlfriend-boyfriend stage.
Yeah.
Well before the girlfriend-boyfriend stage. That comes later. Yeah, yeah, thank you for reminding us of that. Yeah, so it doesn't fit in one sense. And you know, Nectar of Devotion speaks about uparasa or overlapping of mellows. Some is bona fide and some is not. When someone brings up something which kind of it doesn't equate correctly according to rasa. You know, let's take this example. Radharani's there and she gives the, you know, she says, yeah, so it doesn't quite work according to rasa. You know, so that's how one way of telling if a pastime is correct or not. If the rasa is spoken of in a contradictory way, then it's to be rejected. Like an obvious one that Mother Yasoda has rasa dance with Krishna. You know, that's pretty obvious. Rasa bus. That's quite obvious. But something that gets quite subtle. Some of it can be quite subtle. So therefore, we have to be a bit discriminating who we hear Krishna's pastimes from. Not too discriminating that we don't hear from anyone, but we have to have some bit of intelligent discrimination of who we might hear Krishna Katha from. Especially if they're Mayavadi. There's no way, man, we're going to hear from them. You know, no matter how sweet or wonderfully they speak about Krishna's pastimes, especially if they're not, if they speak, you know, go on, if they're speaking it and they're getting paid for it, and you know, like that Saptaha, then we want to hear from devotees who have pure hearts, you know. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, let's pause there, and yeah, we always pause. We never stop. So next Wednesday we'll be recovered from Blissful Janmashtami, Prabhupada's Yas Puja. Wednesday. Okay, we'll continue. We're going to be hearing about Vatsalya Ras now. Okay. Okay, thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Sanatana Goswami ki jai, Brhad Bhagavatamrta ki jai.
Holy Prabhu ki jai.
Hari
Hari Bol.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.